Alright, so let's go over some examples out of 10.2. So we just looked over some of that vocabulary, and now let's apply this to some problems here. So 1 through 8, identify the given arc as major, minor, or semicircle. And then we also need to find the measure. So we have two things to do for each one of these. Before I start to even go through these, I'm going to try to get a little more information out of this diagram. This is going to actually help me. AC being perpendicular to BE. Well, if these two segments are perpendicular, I know I got 90-degree angles at AEB and BEC. So I put those little boxes in, I'll just put 90 degrees there as well. Alright, so let's see if this can help me get started here. Well, AB. AB is that arc there. And now remember, an arc is the same measure as its central angle. In other words, the angle that kind of creates the arc. So we're looking at the angle here, the central angle that creates this arc. Well, that's 90 right there. So therefore, that arc would also be 90. And now, is it minor, is it major, or is it a semicircle? Well, it's written with 2 points, and it's less than 180 degrees. So this is a minor arc. Now let's look at ABC. So now we're going to extend this all the way to C. Well, now we're just adding up angles AEB and BEC, which are both 90 degrees. So the entire thing has to be 90 plus 90, which is 180 degrees. And remember, back in the vocabulary notes, anytime we have an arc that's 180 degrees, that's half of the measurement of a circle, the arc of a circle, so that's a semicircle, half of a circle. Alright, I'm going to erase a bit of this just to kind of work with some of these arcs. Let's put in again, I know I got 90 here, 90 here. So let's look at ABD. So I'm going to mark AB and go all the way down to D. Well, it looks like from A to C that was the 180, but now I'm adding an additional 40 degrees because I know the central angle here is 40. So I'm going to add 180 plus 40, which is going to give me 220 degrees. And now this is written with 3 points. It's more than 180 degrees. So this is a major arc. Now let's check out BC. Well, BC we kind of know right away. It's already marked on our diagram. We have that at 90 degrees. That's another minor arc. Now BAC. So now this one, I'm going to switch colors. I'm going to erase my markings on the circle here. So I'm going to start at B. I need to go to A. And then I'm going to go to C. Alright, so it looks like this arc's created from this central angle here, this whole thing. It's almost to the entire circle, which we know is 360 degrees, but it's missing this chunk right here. So we're going to have to subtract out that 90 degrees to find that entire BAC. And we know that 360 minus 90 degrees is 270. So BAC is 270 degrees, and that's got 3 points. It's over 180 degrees. Also a major arc. Alright, let's clean up the circle for our next one. We're going to do DAB. So now D, I'm going to file that up to A and then go to B. Well, now it's this arc, this central angle, excuse me, this whole thing. We know that that's 90 and that's 40. So we can think if the whole thing was 360, we're taking out this piece of 90 and this piece of 40 to figure out what DAB is. And that's going to leave us with 230, I believe. And another major arc, because it's over 90 degrees. Alright, now we're looking at AD. how do we find AD? So A to D here. Well, A to C we know is half of the circle, but we want to take out this piece here from that 180 degrees, which is half of the circle. So we know that AD is going to be 180 minus that 40 to give us 140. So this angle right here, that's going to be 140 degrees, which therefore that arc is 140 degrees. And that's below, or that's, excuse me, that's less than 180 degrees. And remember, only written with 2 points, so this is going to be a minor arc. CD, pretty easy. We know its central angle is right there at 40. Just marks it. And we know that's also a minor arc. All right, that's 1 through 8. Next, let's see, is ABC congruent to ADC? Well, let's mark both of those. ABC, well, I know that was my semicircle. I figured that out right here because we had 90 and 90. So we know that ABC was 180 degrees. What is ADC? So AD to C, well, that's the other half of the circle. So yeah, these two things, this one's also 180 degrees. And yes, they're congruent because they're the same measure. They're both semicircles. All right, so moving in on to number 10. We need to find DE. So we're looking at figuring out what this angle is right here. Let's try to get some more information out of this diagram to help us. What else do I know? Well, if we look closely, we're actually going to have vertical angles here. Two angles created by the same two lines. And so I know that's 55 degrees. So I know that arc's also going to be 55 degrees. That CD and AE are going to be 55 degrees. Now what else can I figure out here? Well, one thing, if I just back up, it looks actually like AD is a diameter because it goes through the center. That segment is a diameter. And a diameter cuts the circle in half. So we know that that AD has got to be 180 degrees. And then if we're looking for just this part of it here, or that angle, that's going to be 180 minus 55. So we know that that's going to give us 125. So DE, that measurement of DE is going to be 125 degrees. All right, lastly, let's look at 11. We want to find AB, which is here. Excuse me. It's 5x right now, so we got to solve for x, and then we got to plug that back in and figure out what it is. Well, remember, the entire circle is 360 degrees. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to add up all these arcs, set them equal to 360, and then do a little algebra to find x. So I know the whole thing's going to be 5x. So I'm going to have 5x plus 40 plus 70 plus 75 plus 2x. So that's the entire, that's all those arcs added up. We know those have to be 360 degrees. If I clean this up a little bit, looks like I got 7x's plus, what do we got? 110. This is going to be 185. If I add up all these numbers, setting this equal to 360. If we subtract 185 from both sides, we get 125, and then I know I need to divide both sides by 7. That x has to be 25 for all these to add up to 360. So if we plug that back in, right now we know that AB is this expression 5x. We plug in the 25 there. We know, therefore, that that is going to be 125 degrees right there. All right, so that is it for your video notes for 10.2. Please email with any questions, concerns you have. Remember, the best thing to do is to try some of these practice problems on your own by doing 10.2 Practice A. That can be found in that Google folder, that resource folder. And then go in and do that distance learning assignment that counts for your attendance and homework. That's on Big Ideas. All right, good luck. Hope everyone's well.